Hey, hey, that'd be cool. That one of those failures. Okay. I totally forgot to unmute my mic. That was so stupid. Anyways. Oh, okay. Anyways, I was talking about this whole thing about red plants. So yeah, forget it. Don't restart. Let's just call that one of those live chat failures. But I was talking about growing red plants and stuff. Sorry guys, I wasn't looking at the chat as well. Let's start this again. Hey guys, welcome to another live Q&A failure. Anyways, I hope you guys are doing well, and I hope you guys are having a great week. It's been really busy for me. It's kind of hard to actually do videos because holding down a 40-hour job and trying to keep up with videos is a pain in the butt. And I don't know how long I've been going talking to myself on mute. Anyway, shout out to everyone in the chat right now. Damien, Fast Dirt Road, Aristide Claus, Mark Salt Life, Vaniski, HC Aqua. Welcome, guys. Welcome, Priscilla. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, sorry about that. Sorry, guys. Straight up, hello. Straight up, hello, guys. So I was sitting there just talking about for 3 minutes or something about red plants. I'm gonna have to put something up there and tell everyone to skip to the part where I talk. Anyways, I did talk a little about red plants on my mute outage there, and basically, people have been asking me a lot of questions on my comments, and one of them was about growing red plants. And okay, when you're talking about red plants, we're talking about natural red plants, plants that actually are red. Okay, now you could also get the tip to go red on some of the stem plants that you might grow, like Familia, Myro, oh, I can't even pronounce it now. Myocania or whatever. Well, whatever. Some of the red plants you see that do grow red on the tips on some of the tanks. All right, now to grow red plants that way or to make the reds really pop, you want intense lighting. That is the key factor to growing red plants. So a lot of people say iron. Iron is not the main factor, though it does contribute to it. What you want to do is intense lighting, and you want to get a decent lighting kit. That's why a lot of people suggest those more expensive lighting kits because they are made to actually produce the right spectrum. Red plants thrive in the red spectrum. All right, the more intense red spectrum you give them, the more intense of it, the more red they're going to grow. And it has something to do with the way they produce photosynthesis and the way the red pigments work in the plants. So that's something you need to keep in mind. It's a more about the intense lighting and the right spectrum. So that's why a lot of people suggest or say it works better with a more expensive lighting kit where it is made so that all the colors of the spectrum are giving the plants what it needs to grow. Okay, if you go on and get a floodlight where mostly floodlights are cheap and can be intense but are only emitting mostly in the green and blue spectrum, it's not going to give much of the red plants a push. It really depends on how much you're pushing to it. But if you want to get the really reds to really pop out, you want the red spectrum to really push the growth on the plants. That's how autumn happens. Well, if you live in an area where it has seasons, comes autumn, that's when more of the red spectrum, I think. All right. Again, I'll do a proper video on this later. Is pushing the plants, the intensity of the sun and the red spectrum pushing the plants to go that red and orange color. Again, I will do a proper video on this later when I do more research on that part of it. But the concept's somewhat similar. Okay, now that's one way of doing it. The other way, it's kind of cheap. Okay, if you set up your tank, you aquascape it to where it's mostly majorly red, and you got some green highlights in there, then you can kind of cheat it. If you provide it with the environment for it to grow, in other words, enough lighting, CO2, yes or no CO2, and the right balance of nutrients, then the plants will go red, but it's not as bright red. And you cheat by getting lighting kit that is producing the right color spectrum, the Kelvin rating. So again, Kelvin rating is for our eyes only, not the plants. It will kind of trick the eyes into seeing the reds in your tank pop. Okay, so when you're looking at that, you want to look at warmer colors, somewhere down as low as 3K, 4K Kelvin rating. Okay, most people, now if you put that kind of lighting on a green tank with full of green plants, you're going to see a red hue. It's going to be very, very red. Okay, in a way, yeah, pretty much in a red hue, and that'll make it look really funky to us. But if it's mostly all red plants, make sure you're going somewhere low like that, and maybe add another kit where it's like maybe daylight, and then you'll get that mix in there, and then you'll kind of get those reds to pop out on your tank. Again, proper video later, but that is the tip I have for this live chat I have completely failed on. So hopefully those that are coming back to watch this, you've actually skipped through all the parts where I was muted. But anyways, comments, questions about that or anything else, just go ahead and post them down below. And yeah. So how goes it? It goes. Again, very busy, so I haven't been putting out videos. It's killing my channel that way. Normally I get around 2 to 3 to maybe 4,000 views a week, but it went down to about 2,000, 1,000. It kind of messes up when you are not completely like pushing out videos every week on YouTube. YouTube stops promoting your videos as much, so I gotta start pushing that back out. But then, I'm dealing with right now is kind of burnout, I guess, in a way. Every time I come home, I'm super tired. So when I'm super tired, and back when I was doing the videos like 3 times a week, it was killing me. I mean, literally, I don't know if you watch the videos. Sometimes it's hard to see, but because I switch in that camera mode. But I am way tired, and now when I get home, I'm just super tired. I just want to go to sleep. Okay, and it doesn't help when you have a job that you don't really, really like going to. But yeah, I mean, hopefully, I'm trying to change that. Try to maybe make all the videos on the weekends. But then on the weekends, I want to go places. I want to do something. Maybe sit down and just play a game and just have some time for myself. So I think maybe that's why I'm just taking this maybe somewhat 3-week break so far, maybe 4. So that's already been a month. I need to get back on the horse, or it's gonna completely kill my channel. But thank you guys for still being here. See who else just came in. Oh yeah, that was Mark Osborne. Nice to see you here. Philly Man Pete asks, ever used the A80 Kessel? No, I've used the Kessel. I forgot which Kessel. Well, maybe it was the A80. No, it was the tuna, the daylight tuna one that I've used. Because my friend let me borrow it for a while just to play around with it. But that's about it. But they're really good lights. It's the perfect full spectrum. I mean, that's what Kessel does. That's how they do lighting. They do it properly. They make it properly, and it's really highly expensive. But again, anything Kessel is good. It's just a great brand to go with. Again, there are cheaper alternatives, but Kessel will work great. Mark Salt Life says, by the way, love watching your videos. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. I'm glad they help. LB, how do I make my fish more colorful? LB, you fish more colorful. It depends on the fish, but again, it's all about the color rating, the Kelvin rating that's shining out of your light. But it's a little hard because it depends on the fish you get and what kind of fish you're trying to make more colorful. Discus. Again, uses if you get certain types of light that covers all the more. I think it's the more red look to it. It makes your fish pop, and also the background to your tank as well will make your discus pop. Right? You don't want to use black background because the discus will look peppered. Right? You want to use something that's like gradient blue, and that's the way to really pop out discus, and then use the right lighting for it. And the right lighting for discus, I guess. Again, is a lot more of the red color temperature. So you want a Kelvin rating a little lower, 5K, something like that. They have something called the Phoenix Monster, I believe, which is built specifically to bring out the colors to your fish. You could get lighting kits like that at markets that way, and that will pop out the color of your fish. Though again, doesn't do much for your plants. It's all about making those colors pop on your fish. Again, I don't know. It depends on what kind of fish you have and what kind of tank you're trying to produce. So maybe I don't know. Let me know what kind of fish you have. Maybe someone here will be able to tell you. Pleco question: in my 10-gallon guppy tank, there is a pleco that I can breed in there. Yeah, if you set up the right environment. I'm not much of a breeder. If you look around, they'll tell a lot of people tell you how to breed plecos. I don't know what kind of plecos you want to breed, but I think bristlenose are pretty easy to breed. But you'll have to set up certain things to it. But yeah, you could put in your guppy tank. You have enough room for places for the plecos to hide and stuff. So yeah, that one you gotta ask someone else. I'm not much of a reader. I only know what I've heard. Austerity clause. I got a question setting up a Mbuna show tank. Ooh, okay. Looking for a grass-like Blixia japonica that I can hang. Ooh. Something that hard of water. Try dwarf hairgrass. I noticed dwarf hairgrass goes pretty good, well, in things. I just don't know anything up in that upper range. Maybe someone can help me with that. Normally, I don't have my tanks that high. I never had to worry about that. Something in that high pH range, you're looking at hard water plants. I don't know if there's much out there that would be able to grow in the high pH. Maybe someone could tell you in the chat, because for that, I don't know. Hey, how you doing, Sphinx LOL? How you doing, Tampa Tom? Good to see you. Do you want to start a small friendly contest? Not normally. I don't really like doing contests because not enough people enter them. Even if the prize is really good, if they have to do a lot of things, people don't want to enter them. A lot of people don't want to enter contests that actually, does something. I mean, unless it's really big. I mean, it really depends. If the prize is big, for instance, I ran contests where there's prizes are pretty big, and people do enter them. Sometimes they try to get lazy and not do the actual contest, just enter. It's so silly. That's why I don't like doing contests. But I don't know what's your idea there. I don't know. You want me to start one, or you want me to enter one? I don't know what it is. I need more details. Hi, Travis. You just set up a planning tank. Well, great. Congratulations. I hope it goes well. Tampa Tom, I just got the Fluid 3.0 and after about a week, I'm having BBA strong algae and brown algae bring out a suggestion. Will settle down. No, it won't settle down in the wrong run. It sounds like you might have too much light. Tampa Tom, are you running CO2? And are you providing nutrients, or what kind of substrate you have? Sounds like you might have too much lighting. You might want to cut down on the lighting. Usually brown algae happens because there's not enough lighting, but 3.0 should give you more than enough lighting, so your brown algae is coming from somewhere else, which I'm assuming it might be the abundance of too much lighting brought on by imbalance in the nutrients. So try lowering down the light intensity. You probably don't need that much if you're not running CO2, if you're not providing enough nutrients or whatever, and then depending on what you have in your tank. So I need to know, what do you have in your tank? Are you running CO2? Or what do you have in your tank based on how much plants and what kind of plants you have? How much CO2 do you have? And what nutrient dosing are you doing? Hey, Flynn, how you doing? Glad to see you on board here. Let me pop you some mod stats there, Flynn. All right, let's see. Good to see you, bro. It's been a while time. Sometime to look to you. Yeah, how you doing, Jordan? Good to see you, buddy. What's the best size PVC pipe cave for Pleco breeding? Don't know. I'm not a breeder. I've never bred Plecos either. So if someone can answer that for Bjorn, please do. I think it's like 2-inch PV. That's a total guess. It's just from what I see on videos when it comes to it. But please, if someone knows what size PVC pipe we use for a cave for Pleco breeding, Ask the Jordan's question in the chat there. It would be much appreciated. What kind of plants can grow in poo filters? And pretty much anything, as you provide enough nutrients, provide enough lighting, CO2 if you need it, then any plants can grow in pool filter sand. Mark Osborne bought a Fluvo 3.0 for the 55 soul tank. Just use some swords of Nubius in it. It's too hard to early to tell. The app's cool. Just what I need. Another reason to have my phone on my hand running pressurized CO2. Okay, so it's kind of underwhelming. Pressurized? No? Why is it underwhelming? Well, if you just planted the plants, they still need time to establish his roots and stuff like that. Since you are providing CO2, you're getting nutrients from the soil. You just bought a 3.0 Fluval. I suggest lowering the intensity. I think you can do that with Fluvo 3.0. Lower the intensity of the lighting and just slowly raise it. Okay, do not just go full bore. Just, just blasting the plants with lighting when you're not entirely sure you could use all of it, right? Because I don't know how much plants you have in your tank and what kind of plants you have. So I would suggest lowering the intensity and just slowly raising it, because you're probably going to run into algae problems if you don't. Tampa Tom, no CO2. Yes, I'm using Easy Green. All right, so, okay. Lower your intensity, too. Here's the problem with a lot of people with their tanks. They're like, oh, I want, a more intense lighting to grow plants. Do you need it? Okay, the only reason why you want intense lighting to grow plants is to grow them faster, not better. Having lighting high intensity does not mean necessarily growing plants better. It means growing them faster. All right, in order to grow them faster with intense lighting, you also need pressurized CO2 so you can control the flow of CO2. Not do-it-yourself CO2, though it helps, but you want pressurized CO2 so you can control the bubble count. And then you want something that you can control the nutrients, not just an all-in-one, but the ability to put in certain nutrients based on the needs of the plants. Okay, so when you go in that high-tech route, that's when you start. You can't just blast your tank with high intense lighting, expect your plants to grow fast and well. All it's going to do is grow algae and probably might crash your tank. Okay, that's possible. All right, because all the die-offs and stuff. If you're just blasting it the tank the plants with lighting, but not giving it everything else it needs to grow at the rate that it needs to grow, based on the intense lighting that you're growing at, and this is where we talk about tank balance. Then all you're going to do is just not do anything and grow algae. All right. So especially when you guys out there are buying the Fluvo 3.0, I know you can control the intensity with the app. Do that. All right. Start low, then slowly raise higher. Go the slow, the rate. Go and then grow and then provide the light based on the rate of the plants will grow. All right. If you blast intense lighting, not give it pressurized CO2, it's not going to go fast. All right. If in your tank all you have is Amazon swords, Java ferns, or Anubias, those plants will only grow so fast. It doesn't matter because they're slow growers. It will only go so fast as it can grow naturally. Okay. So it doesn't matter how much highlighting you give it. It doesn't matter how much CO2 you give it. It doesn't matter how much nutrients you're pumping into your tank. They're going to grow so fast. All right, so you got to do your research. You got to understand what kind of plants you're growing and how you're putting it together. Going out there buying a very expensive kit like the Fluvo 3.0 at least allows you to control intensity is actually a really, really smart buy because you get to control the intensity. But when you get it home, try to keep it at the intensity of the light you had on before, maybe just a little bit more. Start there and then slowly raise it. Okay, otherwise, it's going to shock your tank. Suddenly you're going to get algae growth. Like someone said here, BBA, brown algae. Brown algae is the worst. It was one of the worst. It's not actually algae. It's actually a diatom. All right. So when you get diatoms going in tanks, they are an insanely pain in the butt to get rid of. Okay. So don't do that, guys. Go slow. Take it easy. All right. You got a good investment there. Take it easy and then just go slowly. If you already have a pressurized CO2, adjust as you go up. Does that make sense? Slowly go up. Don't just suddenly blast your tank with it and then try to adjust everything else. All right, that's the worst thing to do. All right, start slow on your lighting and then adjust everything along with the lighting. You know, next week adjust it a little higher, adjust your CO2, trying to find that balance. All right, and that way you won't run into that big algae problems that way. Welcome, Q. Hey, what's up, Susie Q? Susie Q's in the house from Q Aquatics. Check out her channel if you haven't already. She's my girl. I add her as my mod. You have angelfish, seems kind of dull. What kind of background do you have on your tank? Angelfish, I think, runs really well with a black background. And then I don't know what kind of angelfish you have, but you might want to go with something more blue. So something with a high Kelvin rating, 7,000 Kelvin rating would be good. Somewhere around there, but a little higher might be good, and it should make your angels pop. Should. Does CO2 help plants utilize low light? Yes, it does. CO2 helps any plants. Okay, any plants. Do you need to pump CO2 in your tank? No, not always. Depends on how you have it set up. Now, here's the trick. CO2 is already present in your tank. It's already present in the tap water when you do water changes. Okay, it's already present there. All right, if you're not pumping CO2 in your tank, you want to try to use the CO2 natural that's in your tank, you're only going to get so much growth because that's so much CO2 the plants can use in your tank. If you're not pumping CO2 in your tank, do it yourself, pressurized CO2. If you're not pumping any type of CO2 in your tank, make sure you have water agitation. I think water agitation on top of your tank, like from your output flow or whatever. People say that, oh, you don't want to do that because you lose CO2. Only if you are pumping CO2 in your tank. If not, then you need that surface agitation to get the oxygen exchange happening on the top of your tank, so you get oxygen and CO2 naturally into your tank. Okay? All right, so you want surface agitations. You want that, if you're running little bubbles in your tank, run those bubbles in your tank. Run the air pump in your tank. Okay, and get that surface agitation going so you get the right amount of balance of CO2 and O2 in your tank naturally. Okay, because at this point you're just running it naturally. Do not do that if you are pumping CO2 in your tank. If you do that, then you will lose CO2 that you're trying to pump in your tank. Then it's kind of wasted. Okay, if that makes any sense. You take a box of water. So I have CO2 and O2 in the water, and it's done through an exchange on the surface of the water. Okay, nothing really happens that much if it's still surface. If you're running some kind of water from like airflow or from an air pump, and you having movement there, that movement causes the exchange to happen between O2 and CO2 into the water and the air itself. Okay, that's natural reaction. That's just basic physics. Okay. When you start pumping CO2 in your tank, you're providing more CO2 than normal that would naturally occur in the water. So when you do that, then CO2 diffusion in the top of your tank diffuse in the top of the tank more rapidly than usual, because naturally that's not how much CO2 you put in the tank. You're pushing more CO2 in the tank than it's naturally supposed to work. Okay? So if you're doing that, you want to prevent as much surface agitation as possible so that you don't have more exchange happening. Okay, and of course when you do that, then you start running low on O2, and then you got to watch out for your fish in that case. So hopefully that helps. CO2 does help low light plants grow much better. It does help. Okay, do you need it? No, there's a way around it. But then if you do that naturally, then it's just going to grow slower. That's all it is. It's still going to grow slower. Balance it. Okay, if you don't balance it with the lighting, okay? Don't provide it so much lighting that it can't use to grow because you don't have enough CO2 to make it grow. At the same time, make sure you're balancing all your nutrients in your tank. All right? Too much nutrients is going to cause algae. Not enough nutrients is going to cause deficiency in your plants. Keep everything balanced, okay? Don't go blasting your plants with light when you hear someone say, oh, to grow plants you need intense lighting. All right? You're just hearing part of the story, and they're just mumbling and babbling about part of the story they heard from somewhere else. Okay. So, yeah, CO2 does help plants utilize low light. Plecos won't eat Amazon swords, but they can damage them. I have 2 plecos with in a 30 with Amazon swords. As long as you keep them fed, they will stay off the swords. Yeah, I don't know. Was that a question somewhere? Oh yeah. Normally when I had plecos, it never bothered my swords. But then again, fish are temperamental. Um, they do have their own personalities. Okay, fish can be more aggressive and do things that a lot of other fish won't. Just a certain individual fish. It happens. All right, so we could have mainly grouped them all. We could stereotype fish, tetras or calm, or we could sterilize, like for instance, angels eat cardinals because cardinals are their are angels are their natural predators in the wild. Yet, some people have it happen. Most people didn't. Most people don't. At least based on my memory of and calculation of the ratios. But it could be more. Whatever. In my experience, that's not always true. But then, again, from what everyone tells me, in my experience, some betas do eat shrimp, some betas don't. So again, you might get a couple of plecos that suddenly decide to go rebel on you and decides to eat your swords. Can happen. If that happens, then I guess either get rid of the plecos or get rid of your swords. Or move them to a different tank without swords. Well, keep your plecos fed then. It sounds like they're really hungry. Maybe you need to feed them more wafers. Alright, Sphinx LOS says my 2 plecos are medium size. If I see one of them on swords, I just drop a couple wafers in and they come off the plant. Okay, there you go. So he's trying to, he's saying he's distracting them with other type of foods. So if that does happen, I guess, keep your plecos fed. What are your tips for a kid in the hobby? Kid in the hobby meaning you're the kid? Kids in the hobby is great. I mean, we're passing on the knowledge to them and interest to them. So hopefully they grow up and stay in the hobby and keep it going. Because us old farts are gonna die one day, and someone has to carry on the legends, right? Kids in the hobby, it's a great learning experience for kids in the hobby, especially if they share it with someone they look up to, right? Parents, whatever. That's very important. So kids always is gonna love the hobby if there's someone there to teach them, someone there to look up to in the hobby. So I think it's great. Keep doing it, keep learning. You could learn so much from this hobby. I know I do. There's tons of millions of billions of I don't know. And when I don't know and someone asks me a question and I just tell them, I don't know, let me go look at it. Let me do the research. And I do the research and I just have so much fun doing it. I don't know why a lot of people ask me questions. I'm like, research it yourself. This is the fun part of it, It's the learning part, A lot of people just want shortcuts. If you're a kid in this hobby, I suggest you learn everything you can about this hobby and learn it yourself. Do stuff yourself. Understand how to get around certain things. Do it yourself things in this hobby is great. Trying to find a better way and a cheap way to do things is awesome. I think it really does make the hobby much more interesting. Do I always do it yourself? No, not always. I just don't have the time. That's the problem. If I had the time, if I did this full time like Joey does, then it'd be a whole different ball game. I'd be doing tons of experimenting and stuff like that. But I just don't have the time to do it. If I want to keep all these tanks, do 40-hour or more full time job type of thing, and then do these videos. There's only so much time in the day I have for things. I can't build lights. I can't build filters. I just don't have the time. I feed my Pleco's wafer, cucumber, green peas, and that's good. Maybe they just love the Amazon swords. If that's the case, you might have to move them or something. I don't know. I never had a problem with Plecos eating my Amazon swords in my really, really big tank years ago. So I'm not sure why that is. Vinosky, Vinosky takes welcome to live chat. Yeah, look, Mark Osborne. Here's a very good example and a very good comment here. Mark Osborne says, thanks, Chung. Likely got the pedal down too hard, looking for instant gratification. This is one of the worst drawbacks about this hobby, especially when I'm giving advice to someone. They come back to me a week later and saying, well, they're not growing that much. Or now suddenly I have algae. I'm like, what are you doing? You know, well, you suggested to get like the Fluvo 3.0 or the Phoenix 24/7. I put it on, turn it full blast, and my plants didn't grow as fast, and I just got algae. And I go, well, duh, you didn't listen to the rest of what I said, right? I just said, then balance your tank with CO2 and nutrient. Did you forget that part? Or are you just fucking stupid? You know, sometimes I get so impatient. I have to. I mean, after a while, you get really impatient with these people because they don't listen to the whole thing. They just want instant gratification, thinking that, how do I grow my plants? Well, what do you have? You know, how's your tank set up and stuff? And you tell them and say, okay, get better lighting like Fluvo 3.0, 2.0, or Phoenix 24/7. Then try to get some CO2 because that's what you want to do. You try to grow plants fast, so get CO2. All right, then learn to balance your tank with nutrients. All right. Oh, great. Thanks for the advice. Boom, they're off. Weeks later, they come back. I have algae problems. You know, my plant, my tank is green. And you're like, well, what'd you do? Well, I went and bought the light you suggested. And I go, okay, what else did you do? I just bought the light you suggested and turned it on full blast. Like, well, okay, you're an idiot. That's your fault, not my fault, because you won't listen to everything. You want instant gratification. Does not work in this hobby. You can't just suddenly grow. Even at the, okay, with my Dutch style tank, which you guys hopefully seen or not, in 6 weeks, 7 weeks growth, I had massive growth on it. Okay, because I knew how to balance the tank. I knew, you know, the setup was right. I was pumping 2 to 3 bubbles per second. 2 to 3 bubbles per second. No livestock for the first 4 weeks. No, 5 weeks of the tank's life. Okay. Phoenix Planet Plus on it, right? And I was EI dosing. So everything I was doing was meant to push plant growth. It had nothing to do with keeping, you know, livestock or keeping feed away. It was to push plant growth in a short period of time, which I did in 5 to 6 weeks, somewhere around there. Okay, so people see that and they're like, I want to do what you're doing, but not understand why I'm doing it. Okay, I did that, put through, and once that week hit, that 6 week hit, I pushed everything back to have it just grow normally. Okay, that I just cut down on the lighting, which I raised it. Okay, cut down on the CO2, which is about 1 to 2 bubbles about 1 bubble per second, to be fair. And I stopped I did EI dosing, but I cut it down to dosing once a week instead of every single day. Okay, because I didn't need to do it every single day anymore. I cut down everything back. Okay, to have normal growth in my tank. Because at this time, I didn't need to push the growth in the tank. I pushed the growth in the plants. I'm already there. Okay, so that's the thing. Some people like thinking they just want to keep growing plants like that and grow like crazy and stuff. And they think it'll just suddenly happen. It doesn't. You're watching a video. I'm doing cuts. I'm editing my videos. That 6 week period is all in a 10-minute period. Okay, it looks fast. It wasn't. All right, it took weeks to do. Sometimes it took months to do. All right? So, you know, these people, again, think instant gratification because they do what I'm going to do. Or they're going to try to do what I'm doing. It doesn't work that way. Okay, guys, you got to be patient. It doesn't work that fast. It just looks like it works that fast because of, you know, we're doing video. You're watching videos. In the span of six months, maybe, or 6 weeks or 6 months, it's all done in 10 minutes. You know, it doesn't work that way. Life doesn't work that way. Any carpeting plant does not require CO2. Most of them. Monte Carlo, dwarf hairgrass, you get away with no CO2. Monte Carlo is a great plant to do with. It's not going to... Look, if you're not providing CO2 to it and you're just using the natural CO2 in your tank, again, do that tip where I say get water agitation on top, either from your outflow or your filter, or run a pump or whatever you call it. A wave maker, okay? And run that agitation on the surface of your tank. And then just do it that way. But the problem is, if you do it that way, your carpet's not going to be as full. It's not going to be as lush. It'll grow, but it'll probably be very stringy. Like with Monte Carlo, your dwarf hairgrass carpet might have patches in it, but you could do it without CO2. Okay, it's just going to take longer, take a lot more patience to do. But those two carpeting plants I just suggest. Yeah, if you want to try to carpet with Java moss, that'll work too. You do with baby tears. Baby tears should work too. Again, not as lush, all right, without CO2. But yes, you could do it without CO2. How much CO2 would you lose surface agitation? Is it dramatic? If you're pumping in CO2, if you're pushing pressurized or do-it-yourself CO2 in your tank, it will if you, depending on the surface agitation, it will just push it back to as if you were doing it naturally. Does it make sense? Let's say this bottle naturally holds, normally holds, and mainly holds 50 pills. Okay, 50 pills in this bottle. Okay, and no matter what you do, you can only fit 50 pills in here. Let's say we are putting it. I'm trying to figure out how to explain this. Let's say we're putting some in plastic injection. It'll make this bottle grow. All right, that's CO2. So I'm doing it. It grows a little bigger. I don't have a bigger. Okay. But bigger pill bottles. Right? Now I take medications for my heart, guys, and not for other things. So a bigger bottle. Now suddenly we're holding 50 pills in this bottle. Okay. But what surface agitation does was it will cut the flow to the plastic injection to the bottle. So what happens though, even though I'm trying to push plastic injection in the bottle, I'm pushing surface agitation here, and it will only limit it to the 50 pill growth. Does that make sense? I hope that's making sense to you. All right, so you're injecting a lot. I wish I have M&Ms with me, and then I could do it with M&Ms. The point is naturally you could only hold 50 pills. But you start injecting CO2, make the pill bottle bigger, you can hold a lot more pills in it. But naturally, if you push surface agitation, the exchange rate, all right, that's where it's happening. The exchange rate will push out all that CO2, the extra CO2 you're pumping in your tank, and just naturally balance the tank. Does that make any sense? I hope I'm making sense. Let me know if I'm making any sense, or do I have to explain it again? I don't worry. I will be doing a video on that on the CO2 series. So yeah. So yes, with surface agitation, if you're pumping in CO2, it will dramatically decrease it. Can I keep neon tetras in my beta in the 7.5 gallon cube aquarium? If so, how much? Yes, you can. For 7.5, 5. If it was planted, had nice filtration in it, 10, maybe 12. Again, it really depends on your setup. Hey D, welcome to the chat. Alright, get BBA and string algae off your valve. To get VBA off your valve, drain the tank, spray it with hydrogen peroxide. Kills BBA really, really fast, really easy. String algae, you have to take it off with your hands or with a toothbrush. But string algae is really easy to get. Balance your tank, right, and it'll go away. In other words, fix your lighting, right? Sounds like you're just blasting too much light in your tank where this is not going to be used. All right, so the algae is going to use it. Watch my balancing tank video. Hopefully that'll explain a lot. BBA is easy to get rid of. Hydrogen peroxide is not as easy to get rid of if you balance your tank as you can with string algae. String algae would just go away over time. If you get your tank just at the right balance, the right growth, and with everything you're giving it, the string algae would just completely disappear overnight. Will it continue to spread? It will continue to spread, but once you balance your tank, it will stop spreading. Okay, once you get that balance your tank, once you find out what the problem, what's causing it, all right, because if you go in and you remove algae, not naturally, but you remove it with hydrogen peroxide, pulling it, remove it with the toothbrush, all those tips and tricks is going to do you absolutely no good because it's just going to come back. Go to the source, find out what's causing it, fix it, and then go and get rid of the algae. All right? Easiest way, if you're just completely infested, is to, once you figure out what the social problem is, black out your tank for 3 days. All right, that's extreme situations for a lot of people. For a lot of people, extreme. For me, whatever. I've blacked out my tanks more than enough times. Even if I see, certain hidden algae, I consider it rebooting my tank. It kind of like rebooting a computer. But I also know what I'm doing, and I also know how to recover my plants from a blackout really easily. Okay, so I don't suggest that for everyone. But if you have algae, find the source of the problem first, fix that, then get rid of the algae. All right? If you just go and get rid of the algae, it's doing you no good. It's just going to come back. The plant has plastic plants, driftwood, and sand. Yeah, I just keep 5 neon tetras. I don't know why you would keep plastic plants. Driftwood does nothing. Sand does really nothing. Maybe. What kind of filter do you have on it? That's another important question. But I just keep 5 neon tetras. I don't know what else you're putting in that tank. Hobbies. Sphinx LOL says the hobby is different than others. There isn't a best advice. The best thing to do is try and by making mistakes and learn how to balance. Exactly. That's how I learned. That's how everyone needs to learn. Everyone wants a formula. Everyone wants a recipe. I could give you a recipe, my recipe. I give you a formula, my formula, but it's not always going to work for you. And that's the day and age of people nowadays. They just want it easy. Done. It's not easy. Look, if you're gonna get this freaking hobby, planted tanks especially, then be prepared to learn. Be prepared to do some work. If you have a problem with that, get the fuck out of the hobby. Sorry I'm cussed, but get the fuck out of the hobby. Go do something else. Go play video games or something, Hey, Sean Williams is in the house, man. I haven't seen you in a long time, buddy. Hope you're doing well. Did you get your flower horn set up? Hello, you're not stupid. You just gotta learn. You'll learn. You'll figure it out. Lower the intensity. People probably don't want to hear lower intensity or lighting because they've been hammered in their head by the stupid forum folks or the group Facebook idiots that are just shouting in your face, get higher intensity lighting, get higher lighting, get higher lighting. I want to grow better. How do I grow my plants better? Get higher lighting. That's their one point solution because they heard it somewhere else, or that's easy for them to say, and it makes them sound intelligent. It doesn't make them sound stupid, right? And the stupid way is to spread more stupidity and ignorance, and that's what they're doing. So you guys gotta watch out. If they give you a very easy, simple answer, it sounds very simple and easy. It probably isn't. They're probably telling you it wrong. Nothing is really simple in this hobby. There's a lot of what else are you keeping? What are you growing? Okay, if you go and here's a really good way to figure it out. Hi, I'm new to this group. How do I grow plants better in my tank? If the first thing they say, better lighting, get CO2, they don't know what the fuck they're talking about, or they're just repeating, they're just being lemmings and repeating what they heard, okay? And they have no clue what they're talking about, or they're just spouting the one-liners to you. All right, ignore those. All right? Pay attention to people that are asking you questions back. What kind of plants are you growing? What's your setup like now? Are you pumping in pressurized CO2? Do you plan on pumping in pressurized or any type of CO2? Are you dosing right now? If they're asking you questions before they tell you the answer or what they think their opinion is, pay attention to those. Those are the people you need to pay attention to. Okay? Because it's not that simple. It's not a one-word answer kind of thing, kind of hobby, all right? And most hobbies are like that, honestly. And that's why they're called hobbies. And it's the same thing with gaming. I mean, people say video gaming is for stupid people or whatever. It's not. How do I play this game better? Well, which game? Right? What level are you on? What boss are you trying to fight? What boss are you having trouble getting past? What area are you having trouble getting past? There's a lot more information. You can't just say, how do I play this game better? That's the same type of question of asking, how do I grow plants better? What should I put in my 10-gallon tank? I hate that question. Like, what should you put in your 10-gallon tank? Put what you want in your 10-gallon tank. Why are you asking me? Now, if you're asking me, what's your opinion? What would your opinion? What would you put in your 10-gallon tank? That's a different situation. But I hate the question when they ask me, what should I put in my 10-gallon tank? What should I put in my 10-gallon tank? I don't know what you should put into a 10-gallon tank. Put a shoe in it. I don't care. It's your tank. Plecos are not eating swords. This is what I heard from another channel. Just want to say it. My plecos are not eating my swords. Probably not. They could be just sucking on it. Algae on your swords. I mean, if you're asking if plecos attach themselves to plants, they do all the time. They did in my tank. But they're also eating out the algae off my swords or off my broadleaves and nubias. They do it, and they munch on the algae that's growing on the plant. My dad keeps saying that my betta tank's boring because it's only one fish, and that's why I'm considering getting more neons. Probably not. Yeah, don't do that. Oh, I don't know. It depends on your bettas. If you're gonna put neons in your tank, with a betta, I don't know if your betta will like it or not. Depends on your betta. It can be boring with one fish. I don't know. It really depends on what you like. All right, what do you like? Not what your dad likes. Not what your mom likes. What do you like? All right, a lot of people keep just betta tanks, one fish. And it was because it's all about the betta. It's all about keeping the betta. The interesting thing is the betta. Now, it's not about the whole tank, though a lot of people do make it about the tank as well. I usually do. A lot of people who keep betta, it's about the fish itself. Okay, what makes you happy? I mean, what interests you? It's your tank. All right, don't let anyone else tell you who it is. How you should feel about your tank. Okay, not your dad, not your mom, not me, not anyone else. But you. It's your tank. It's your fish. Hey, Knackered Aquariums, welcome to the chat. Someone broke Chung? Why do you say that? Yeah. M&M's. Hey, how you doing, Car? How you doing, buddy? Yeah, I do get worked out. Wow, I'm really far behind on my chat here. Because that was a while ago. I want to use real plants, Arlie. Okay, well, just a limb, especially with a betta tank and a small tank like that. Get a Nubius nanas, petite. It'll work great in a small tank like that, and your betta will love it because he'll perch on those leaves. He'll just sit there and chill on the leaves. Another 6 months or so. Oh, cool. Can't wait to see the flower horn. No, I don't have a pond. I live in a Lim asked me if I have a pond. No, I don't have a pond. I live in a townhouse, so I don't have a yard really. I have a patio. I might put a pond in there. I don't know what the homeowners association says. I might just do it. I rent this place, so I really can't say much and go against the homeowner association. I hate those people. I hate people like that. I hate homeowner associations. They don't really make your little community look good. They're just a bunch of little power hungry little idiots. Yeah, you know what? I am on fire today. Let's go with that. But I plan to maybe put a small pond maybe in my patio once I have it cleaned up and stuff. Looking it's maybe 4 foot by 6 foot maybe. Alexander, welcome to the chat. Welcome to the live chat. Sean Williams might do another low-tech plant tech for a spotted Congo puffer in a 40B. Ooh, that sounds fun. Hi, Car. No trivia today. It's just a simple Q&A. I haven't done trivia in a while. I do want to go back to it because a lot of people have asked me about it. Enjoy it. They enjoy the other format, even though I guess they enjoy this too, but the other format a lot more interesting. It's good, but then I can't just sit here and always answer questions, which a lot of people seem to have. How many shrimps can you put in a 10-gallon tank? Tons of shrimp. I believe, what is it? Is it 100 shrimps per gallon or is it 20 shrimps per gallon? I don't want to get this wrong. Someone tell me, or someone post in the chat. How much shrimp per gallon is it? Again. Do I keep shrimp? I have a mono shrimp in a 10-gallon tank that I let go. And right now it's just a tank running with no plants. Just a couple of driftwood and stuff in it. Well, it has plants in it. It has a ball of floating a pearlweed in it. And I think it has one little tiny, because it's a low light tank, a little tiny bunch of cryptochlorines growing in it. It has one glow tip tetra in it, and it has a bunch of Amano shrimp in it. And all I'm doing is just trying to just keep that tank going on auto drive until I could do something with it. So it's kind of a I don't know, a backup tank right now that's just running on itself. All my tanks that I let go are still running, right? And I'm just keeping it running. Mainly for whatever's in the tank that it's surviving, and I guess for the filter media, because when I set up at least the 60 gallon with the back wet dry filter it has, I'm gonna be taking all that biomedia that's currently cycled to jumpstart that tank. So that's gonna make it go really quick. Even though I'm probably not gonna put fish in it for 6 weeks, knowing the way I do, do tanks. But yeah, I have shrimps in that one. And I want to get a bunch of cherry shrimps, maybe 20, 40, in my 20 gallon long that I have downstairs right now that's going. How many shrimps can you put in a plant tank aquarium? 10 gallon. Did someone answer that? Okay, so it is about 100 shrimps per gallon, right, Sean? Sean says he has 200. He had like 200 cherry shrimps in his 20 long. And I know it's a lot of shrimp, because when I read that, I'm like, are you serious? That's a lot of shrimp. So it has to be 100 per gallon. Again, Google that. Do not take my word for it, because I am not completely sure. Okay? And again, it depends on the environment. It depends on what shrimp and environment, because if you're keeping specialized shrimp, you have to kind of set it up correctly and in a specific way for the shrimps to survive. But if you're doing like cherry shrimps or mono shrimps or very hardy, then it's different subject matter in the way that you could just take a lot of shrimp in the tank. Yeah, Carr says it depends on the shrimp. Some are larger than the others. Yeah. I mean, assuming when you ask me about shrimp, I'm assuming, the hardy one, Amano, cherry shrimps. So that's what I usually relate to when someone asks me that question. So it's like 100 per gallon, but again, I'm not sure. Please Google that. Yeah, there you go. Heather has the answer right there. But she's saying neocardinas. Again, this guy might be a new guy to the fish, to shrimp or fish tanks. So try not to neocardina. What's the difference between neocardina and the other one and type of stuff like that? Probably doesn't know what you're talking about. Especially when they ask you a question, how many shrimps can you put in your tank per gallon, or in a 10 gallon tank kind of thing. Thanks for answering a couple of my questions. No problem. I'm gonna go sleep now. All right, go get some sleep, buddy. Maybe just watch some other YouTube video. Very cool, man. Thanks for joining us today, Justin. Andres, thanks for the tip. No problem. Oh wait, one last question. What's my favorite fish? I like arowanas. I like discus. Discus is one of my favorite fishes. I like mostly South American cichlids. So angelfishes and discus, rams, love those fish. Those are my favorite fish. And my all-time favorite, of course, are corydalis. How do Amano shrimps do mating? Just like any other shrimp. The only problem is they're hard to breed out of the wild, because they need certain ways how to grow. I think it's like when they first hatch, it has to be salt water or brackish water or something. You have to slowly take out the salt in the water as they get bigger. Something like that. It's just hard to grow. People have done it, but it's just hard to breed out of the wild. You just lost 10 minutes. My internet's getting more mad than Chung was. Yeah. Community fish that I recommend for a 10 gallon? Tetris. Look up Tetris. Tetris is the almighty classics. Neon, Cardinals, Rummy Nose, Red Eyes. They're great for community fishes. Rasboras. Look at some of Rasboras. If you want faster, more like highway, like super fast, like busy fish, Look up like serpent tetras, barbs. They move so fast. They're just, but they look really cool in a big tank with lots of them. For a 10-gallon tank, you want community fish. You probably want a lot of them. Stick with neons. Stick with the smaller, like maybe white minnows kind of thing, so that you get a lot more community going with a lot more fishes. How do shrimp mate? Google that. I don't know. I mean, I'm not a shrimp breeder, so I don't know. I'm not into that. You probably gonna get another tank. All right, like again, stick with the smaller tetras. And now your battery's 2%. What's going on with the force today? I don't know. It happens, Jordan. Hopefully, well, goodbye if you suddenly just drop off. Hey, how you doing, Sally? Welcome to the chat. Yeah, salt water and comes back to fresh water. Yeah, there you go. Oh yeah, dwarf gouramis or flame dwarf gouramis are fun too for 10 gallons. By the way, I just bought a flame dwarf gourami for my 20-gallon long, and I bought like 10 rasboras, so now my tank looks much more full. I'll be doing an update on that really quick. I'm gonna do a vlog on that. So yeah, cardinals are great and gouramis are great. Try that. That would be good. Yeah, good. Get a group of neons and get like a flaming gourami or a powdered blue dwarf gourami. Just go look at the dwarf gouramis. They have a tons of different varieties. I always like the flaming ones because they got that red thing and the blue fin on top. It's really, really cool. Ah, it could be. Or maybe you just need to charge your phone, buddy. You like the powdered blues, dwarf gouramis? Those are nice. I like the blues. I like the reds. I like the flames a little bit more. Maybe because it's like the red and the mix of the red and blues. All right, guys. Any last questions that you guys have before I take off? It is 12. I've been here for an hour. Minus the 3 minutes I've been talking to myself on mute. What leaves can I feed my tetra shrimps? I'm not sure what a tetra shrimp is. Someone can please answer that question. I'm not sure what leaves you can feed it. I'm not sure what you're asking. Yeah, pearl gouramis are good too, but they're really big. That's the problem. Yeah, you gotta have that many in 10 gallon. It's really cool. Joey has like 1 billion of them in 120, and that looks really cool. I love pearl gouramis. It's so pretty. Yeah. Which, by the way, I'm wondering if I should get pearl gouramis for my angel tank. I have to look into it. I don't know if they're really aggressive or not. Well, I had pearl gouramis a long, long time ago, but I can't remember. They were in the community tank, and it was a 120-gallon tank. So they had tons of room, and they didn't bother each other. Your baby tears have algae? Oh, sorry to hear that. Yeah, I've never heard of a tetra shrimp either. Well, guys, thank you for joining me this Saturday. I really appreciate it again. I love you guys. I'll try to get those videos up again. I'm on this burnout phase right now where I just don't want to do anything but, just hang out, play games or whatever. Go out for once in my life and maybe go to a fish store or something. But usually I'll bring my camera when I do that. But, yeah. Hey, welcome, Kandao. The difference between topsoil potting mix and regular soil for dry dirt tank. Yes. Well, regular soil is kind of like potting mix. Okay, topsoil is basically the dirt layer in gardens and stuff, and it usually don't have that much nutrients in it. So I don't suggest getting topsoil. I stick with potting mix. It's usually what I go with, or regular soil. But I tell people to steer away from topsoil because it doesn't always have all the nutrients in it. Because that's not what topsoil is built for, really. It's built for just to be a top layer kind of thing. Again, I could be wrong about that, but I usually stick with potting mix myself. And I thank you guys. Love you guys. Again, I'll see you next week for a live chat, and hopefully I'll get some videos up again this week. I need to really get back into it, or my channel is gonna go woo on the views. But again, I love you guys. Share where you can, hit those like buttons, and blah blah blah. I love you guys, and I will see you guys later if I can find my closing stream. Bye.